Well, good evening and welcome you all. You're audible now? No? Yeah, good evening and welcome you all. Well, celebrating Pramit in our lives is impossible without acknowledging all those who have made our lives special. And Pramit and Pragna were brought up in that environment of love and happiness. Mani and I have experienced that from our families and from our friends. For me, there has been no dearth of love in my life right from childhood. My parents, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, father's side, mother's side, cousins, brothers, sisters, their wives, husbands, children. And when Mani joined me, she brought in an even larger family of equally wonderful people. Her parents, her uncles, her aunts, both mother's side, father's side, cousins, brother, sister. And I must say we have been blessed. Blessed by a lot of elders in the family, and many are not around today. And Mani and I have valued the elders' blessing the most. We have been living in Elita for almost 10 years now, more than 10 years now. And what an amazing community it has been. I believe communities cannot be created, it just happens. And for Mani, kids, and myself, we have experienced so much goodness in that place. Our friends have been very important in our lives. My two partners, we are friends first. Then when our families came together, it just became one large family. And I found two elder brothers in them. We just happened to do business together. I am guilty of not connecting with a lot of my other friends in the last 3 decades that I know. But when we meet, there is a lot of warmth here. And I have been very fortunate in the last decade and a half of having colleagues in my company, okay, who know me very well. Mani has a larger group of friends, probably the largest group here today. And for you all, I would like to say this, that you bring a smile, you put a smile on their face, and for that reason, you are a friend of mine too. Pragna, Pramit are in the age group where they spend more time with their friends than with us, and quite rightly so. And such wonderful people they have as friends. Then there are the institutions, Brigade School, and in case of Pramit, the One School, which provided them the platform to express themselves. And the teachers there who helped them, guided them in the whole process. So thank you all. What are we celebrating here? This is not a joyous occasion. For Pragna, Mani, and I, it's our way of saying, thank you, Pramit. for choosing us and being part of us for 20 years. And I'm sure all those who know him well enough would feel the same for whatever duration they have known him. That was Pramit. For me, the last 25 years has been life full of happiness with Mani, Pragya and Pramit. And I have not shared this with anyone. Now, I want to say this to the entire world. For we have lost a precious one, and our lives will never be the same. Yes, we will learn to live without him. And yes, we will not be anything other than what we have been all these years. Still, not the same. In a way, Pramit is right inside us. I just have to recall a memory and I can feel him right inside me just now. His sparkling eyes, his beaming smile, the warmth of his hug, the cuddling, that pure selfless love. But I must admit that the very same memories are also a suffering for us now. But that's all we are left with, the memories. I think it may be apt for me to just share one such memory, just to give a glimpse of what Pramit was to us. We used to eagerly wait for Pramit to come from Goa, and he used to take a bus. And he used to normally reach home after 8:30 in the morning. And it was one of those days. We were expecting him, and it was still around 7 in the morning. Mani and I were still sleeping. I was sleeping to my side, right side, and I felt someone behind me. It was Pramit. And he started showering kisses. Back of my head, my neck, my shoulders. He puts his hand under me, hugs me tight, and rolls me, rocks me like a baby. Then he comes between us and does the same to his mother. We were drowned in that love. We were lost. And that is the Pramit we celebrate. Thank you.
I'm Mrs. Sen, and according to Pramit, I'm the first and last member of his fan club. But personally, I think as we go home today, we're going to take a beautiful piece of him with us, and his whole notion will be completely reversed.
I remember the first time mommy and daddy told me that I was going to have a sibling. I was maybe around 3 years old, and I remember it vaguely in my head as me sitting down looking up at them, and they said, "You're going to have a new baby brother or sister." And in my head I'm thinking, I'm gonna get a new sister. And I just kind of never expected to get a younger brother. And when he was born and I saw him for the first time, I just fell in love with him, you know. So cute and tiny, and he fit in my lap. And there was this bond that I felt that I've felt for the very first time, and it was so strong.
Pramit, he can only bring smile on my face. He came to our lives and he brought so much more happiness and love to us. All four of us together, we enjoyed every moment. After Pramit was born, I got two children together because before he was born, Pragna was very shy and kind of quiet. Then when he was growing up, Pragna also started opening up and being more communicative, and at times they had competition with each other to who is going to get more attention. you know great time we had, and as a mother I really enjoyed being with the two of them.
Pramit as a child was the most bubbly and cheerful creature I had ever seen. I was more reserved, I didn't talk to many people, very shy. Pramit, on the other hand, loved everything and everyone. He was one of those kids that everything that he would touch, he would master it and fall in love with it. So it was a very interesting relationship we had, because he was the one that would often introduce me to a lot of things. He loved to go for walks, he loved to, pick flowers for our mom. He was the kid that would help my mom in the kitchen and make sure all the dishes are clean. And he was basically like the golden child.
He was my fitness partner. Every day I used to walk. He was still on the stroller. He enjoyed just being with me, and I enjoyed being with him so much. Walking in the community, taking her around, he would suddenly stop, mommy, stop. And then you come out of the stroller and go into the wild and pick a flower and then come and give it to me. Mommy, this is for you. I love you. He did that every day, every time we went out. Every time. Any flower he sees, he wants to pick it up, save it for me and give it to me. So that was our life together. So bright and sunny was. He started going to school, and then we most of the time used to take a walk.
Okay.
I used to take a walk and he used to cycle, because his school was just 2 blocks away from where we lived. Even there, in between, he used to stop and wonder, oh, how beautiful this place is, and then he used to say, see a bug, ladybugs. His favorite insect was ladybug. He loved them. Springtime, he is always outside. He comes home after school. Our routine is, I pack a little lunch for myself and for him, and it's every day it's a picnic for us. We just go out to the neighborhood, just sit under a tree, watch birds, watch insects. Used to say, Mama, let's go bird watching, and then go for a picnic. Carry our bottles and just small lunch packed, some fruits, yogurt. Just be there in the nature. That's it.
He never called me by my name. He never called me Pragnya. But except for this one instance where he was around maybe 3 years old and me and him were playing together. And suddenly he looked up to me and said, Akka, why do I call you Akka? And I was like, that's because mommy and daddy told you to call me Akka. And he said, oh, okay, so can I call you by your name? I'll just say it once. I want to know how it feels. I said, okay, sure, you can call me whatever you want. So then he says, Pragnya. Then he's like, okay, no, that sounds very weird. I'll keep calling you Akka. I like how it sounds. In fact, Akka became my most used name to call me more than Pragnya itself. So much so that all of his friends in school would call me Akka, and all the kids in the bus would call me Akka. And it just became something that I identified myself with, and it all started because of him.
Yeah, as a kid, he was so bubbly, and he was so involved. He used to be a big help for me, from picking up groceries to washing, cleaning up, vacuum cleaning, coming with me for the laundry, folding the clothes, putting them together. Everything he used to be with me, helping. He used to call himself a helper. I don't know how he grew up, never gave me a tough time, not a day. Not a day. He was so bubbly. Yeah. I never remember a day he used to tell me, Mom, I'm bored. I want this, I want that. Never. He used to keep himself happy with whatever he had.
Pramit, as a kid, was very bubbly and enthusiastic, just like his mother. And he has a way of expressing things very clearly and concisely, all his thoughts, all his feelings, at a very young age, and sometimes in a profound manner. Once my friend asked him, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be me. And he was just 4 years old.
I know Pramit since he was 4 years old. I used to meet him at Venkatesh house when he was in US. We had many interactions, and some of time his questions and answers used to surprise me, and some of the answers will be with probing questions.
Every day, not just once, many times, there's this hugging session and kissing session, So I used to ask him, Pramit, you're growing up, and then can I still kiss you after you are big, you grow your little beard and all will come little stubs. And he used to look into my eyes and said, Mom, when I grow up, do I grow up not to be your son? And I used to say, no. Then why ask me the question? You can just do what you want. And that's what we always did, Never he was shy, never. Even outside, whenever I wanted to hug him, he liked me and he also hugged me back. So he never had any problems growing up that way. Yeah.
Yeah, Pramit left us 10 songs. And the first thought we had was that we have to release that as an album. But we didn't know how to go about doing it. And Pragnya's friends Abhi and Anu introduced us to Bruce Lee Money. And of course, we had been to one of his gig, Dire Straits, years back, and it was on occasion where we used to live record that and show that to Pramit. He was in Goa. Okay, we are all Dire Straits fans. Okay, so when we met him first, honestly, I think my expectations were very low. I thought we'll get about 10 minutes, and we'll be told how to go about doing it, refer to someone else to get it done. It was a very pleasant surprise when we met him. He was so sensitive. He could really relate to what we are going through. We played one song, then he says, "Can I hear one more?" So we play a second one, then the third one. We played 5 songs that day and spent 45 minutes with him. At the end of it, he said, "It will be done. I will take care of it." After that, I had nothing to do. Okay? The album was launched, released in all stores 2 days back. So I don't know how to thank Bruce for what he did, and he mastered those songs, which sound even better now. And he is here with us today, and I'd like to welcome him on stage. Bruce, please address us. First of all, thanks, Bruce, and please.
I spend most of my life, well, not most of my life, but half of it now on stages. And you'd think it gets easier as the years go on, but it doesn't. But anyway, most of you were privileged and you had the good fortune to know Pramit at various stages in his life, from his birth to all those things that were shared on the screen just now. His first steps, his first day in school, his first friends, his first heartbreak, I don't know. But you had the good fortune to be part of that. Well, I didn't. And I had perhaps a narrow window into his life and his mind. But if you can think about the mind of an artist being revealed by his art, actually the word I think is the mind of an artist being exposed by his art, then I had a grand window indeed. And I spent 2 weeks last month in January sort of consumed by his music. And when you spend this much time with another person's work and you've never known that person, there are all sorts of discoveries you make. The only reference I had for his depth of feeling, his intensity, his honesty, his integrity, were the words and the music that I was surrounded in. And I speak now emotionally as well because I'm a parent. And I cannot begin to imagine what it's like. But I will say this. If all we've got left are the memories, and the memories are great, and all we've got left are these 10 songs that he wrote that are now available for the whole world, then we've got something. We've got something that leaves a mark, that left a mark on me, a stranger who never knew him apart from his music. And that's special. It's not given to many. Let's treasure that. Let's cherish it. And allow it to inform all the things that we do in our own future. That's it. I have not much else to say. Go listen to the music. It's It's fine music. It is, like I said, honest, raw, heartfelt, intense, disturbing in parts. But that's it. That's what music is supposed to do. Music is supposed to uplift, to inspire, to change, to leave marks, to leave deep, indelible impressions that you carry your whole life. And I'm confident that the music that Pramit made will do that to many. I'm sure it will leave its mark. And I'm just again honored and privileged that I got to add perhaps some value to it because of some technical expertise I have gathered through the years. And yeah, I hope all of you listen. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
I am Miss Anupama Karamadai. Pramit came into my life when he was in his 6th standard. I taught him English for almost 4 or 5 years, every other year. Pramit is one of those silent, very observant, perceptive student. He would understand more than what was obvious, but then he never conveyed, he never expressed anything out. The very enigmatic Pramit.
I'm JV, as Pramit called me. I first met Pramit when he came to Pragya's class along with his mom. As I was her class teacher, all I remember was he just sat there smiling and did not speak a word. My interactions with Pramit started when I started teaching him in 8th standard and continued for 3 years as I taught him science in 8th, 9th and in 10th. And those were the years that I saw Pramit change from a shy young lad to a confident young growing boy. And the science classes, he would open up, have discussions. But one thing that I always felt was that Pramit only showed that much of himself as much as he wanted others to know.
First time I met him, he must have been in the 5th or 6th grade. He came to join for guitar classes. And that was my first interaction. I did see a lot of curiosity, but what was different was he wasn't one of the more talkative students in the class. He came, did his work, clarified his questions, had a lot of focus. And one thing that stood out was he always wanted to try out something on his own. I do recollect that he did not stay on for the entire duration of the course, and which is not unusual. I've seen that with many self-learners.
I'm Shantanu Shure. I'm the head of the school, the One School Goa, and the chief mentor. And Pramit worked a lot under me closely. Apart from classwork and other things, he always came and wanted to discuss things and all. He was very well organized, very well researched on most of his work. As a student, his work ethic was superb. He worked diligently with everyone, with his other colleagues as well as with the staff, and he was very respectful. That's the beautiful part of it. He was a very respectful kid.
He was the most forthcoming, or mostly students are scared of approaching the teachers to sometimes as simple as just to discuss something, or more often they think they can't question them. And Pramit didn't seem to have that fear, and he was the one who would come to you and almost represent the class and putting the point across or starting a discussion, which again was an amazing quality to have.
He was the perfect friend. He's the friend everyone looks for. he was the best friend I wish I had right now also.
And he was just real and honest about whatever it is.
I don't know, it was just a very different kind of a friendship. And
Pramit was also such an easygoing guy.
so nice and generous, so helpful and so talented.
And he was quite eccentric in terms of where his interests and talents lay.
It was fun talking to Pramit because he was so different.
He was a character, he had his own personality, no one else was like him.
He was a great friend. Yeah.
And he was a very honest, genuine person.
Pramit, the friend, is, what I should probably have the most to talk about, because I'm a very stubborn person, and I don't like to change my ways, or you can't easily convince me to do things. And I'm not exaggerating or, lying when I say that he was the only person who could cut through my whatever exterior that I put up like butter. He was effortless in doing that. And the thing is, I didn't think twice when Pramit asked me to do something as well. That's how much I trusted him. That's how much I do trust him and respect him.
I think our relationship was really weird because I think almost 80% of it was just us making fun of each other and pulling the other's leg and basically just bullying one another.
So personally, we weren't close from the first year. We didn't talk so much. We just hung out because we were in the same hostel. And then as time went by, we started getting comfortable with each other. He's not the guy anyone would like in the first meet or in the initial stage. And because Pramit is not the guy, he won't care about anyone. He never wanted to make a good impression on someone. And he was just real and honest about whatever it is with himself and to everyone around him. And that's one thing, maybe because everyone initially misunderstood him. But yeah, as time went by, I really started enjoying his company because I knew it was all fun. He was a really chill guy.
He was always funny, made for a lively conversation. It was always nice to be around him.
Yeah, Pramit and I were actually pretty good friends. We were benchmates back in school. When I think of brigade, when I think of school, I can't think of a single memory without him.
He's one person who's brought about a big change in my attitude, in how I see life, in how I approach my work, everything. And he was the perfect friend. He's the friend everyone looks for.
He's a really nice person, but he also never backs down from a conversation or any discussion or topic. And he always has really quick and witty replies to any situation.
We would have really good conversations about photography, work, life, everything. And he was the right kind of guy. It was, but that's the one thing I always regret about, is that I didn't tell this. I never got the chance to tell this to Pramit, because I always thought that he's a guy that who'll find all this very cliche. But I did take him as a really close friend of mine.
I think it's one thing to be understood by people, but I've actually had, I've never had someone like Pramit. I've never met someone who understood me like Pramit did, and and he wasn't faking it. He wasn't pretending like he did. He genuinely got me, right? And I really can't say that about a lot of people.
I think he was really sensitive and caring, because I'm a really awkward person. So we'd have like, these gatherings and get-togethers, and I'd just be awkwardly standing in the corner sometimes, and he'd realize, and then he'd come and talk to me and be like, "Are you awkward? Do you not know what to say?" And I'd just be like,
yeah. One day, I had a bad review in college, and I was in tears, and he's the first person I called, and I lost it, and I started crying. I bawled my eyes out. I said, "Pramit, I had such a bad review," and whatever. And he said he was home, and he was not supposed to be in college that day, but he said, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna come right there." And he came from his place, and I'd calmed myself down by the time, but I said, sorry. He told me, "We'll go to your place, we'll chill, talk, watch a movie maybe." So I said, "Yeah, okay." So we went to my place, and we were watching something on Netflix, like we do. And suddenly he just hit the pause button, and he was like, "How tired are you?" And I said, "Not so much. Why?" He said, "Can you come with me to Portland? I want to buy some things. I want to prop shop for a shoot, for an assignment that we were doing at the time." I said, "Yeah, why not?" So the two of us went. We went to Portland to this, crockery place that you get all these ceramics, of glassware and all that. And we walked into the shop, and I was like, "Yeah, so what do you want?" He didn't say anything, and then he just like walked around, and he came back. He took one of those glass bottles with a cork, the kind that you store oil in. He took a small one and came to me, and he was like, "Here." I was like, "What's this?" And he said, "Take it." Like, "What is this?" So he's like, "It's for your birthday." And my birthday is only next month, and this was maybe 3 months ago or 2 months ago. So I was like, "But why are you giving it to me now?" And he was like, "No, just take it. I want to make you feel better because today you had a rough day." So yeah, in hindsight, I don't know if he actually meant something by giving me that when he did, but I still have that bottle of chili oil.
Whatever his interests were, like he would naturally transfer them to you. Like it just happened. You wouldn't know it happened, but it happened.
It was always nice having a conversation with him. He was always well informed. He was very humble, but he was well informed and he was articulate. He was a man of few words, but he knew how to communicate with people. It was very nice.
He came up with songs for everyone. He came up with nicknames. Like he used to call me Squiddy, so like that I think was his best one.
And I remember during 12th grade boards, I used to wake up to study at around 4 a.m. and that's when, and Pramit would still be awake. I think that's when he used to go to sleep. So I used to say good morning, he used to say good night.
Another thing that I really liked was that, especially during 11th and 12th grade, you'd notice that whenever someone was trying to bully someone else, he'd bully the bully. So I always liked that. And sometimes, and even if you like got on your high horse and was like acting a bit too cocky, he'd try to like bring you back down and remind you like chill out a bit.
I didn't expect us to stay in touch after school because we wouldn't meet often, but we did, and we used to talk so much that Pramit kind of became one of the few people in my life who I could say anything I wanted to, and I would go and I would tell him stupid things that happened in my day, and he would always have very interesting responses to everything, and it was really nice.
One of the things Pramit did was he had very high standards, and he held all of his friends to those standards. And although that's annoying at times, it's actually what sustains me now, because that's what I'm constantly trying to live up to, and I think that's what I will constantly try to live up to for the rest of my life.
And actually, when I'm going back home and it's late at night and I see the stars, I always tell myself that one of those stars is Pramit, and he is still watching over me. He's still watching over all of us. He's still making fun of my stupid mistakes. Yeah,
I miss him, and I don't know if I'll ever get over it. Of course,
I know he's there with me.
He was very different, and I'll never meet a guy like him, I know for sure.
He's someone I will always hold very close to my heart.
I don't think I've ever met somebody like that.
I mean, I just miss him a lot. I guess it's just I think about him all the time.
I hope everybody grieving can know that he was a gem of a person.
He wanted me to buy him a computer. So I said, fine, which one you want to buy? He said, no, I want to build one for myself. Wow, do you know about it? He said, yes, I know how to build a computer. So that weekend he was ready with a list, and we went to this Sadar Patrappa road in near market. In one of these stores, that guy was trying to sell a motherboard. And Pramit said, no, I don't want it. Then he said, why? This is the best motherboard that is available in the market now. And Pramit explained to him why it is not the best one. And he said, what is the best motherboard and why he needs the other motherboard. That guy just looked at him and said, how old are you? He said, 11. And around the same time, I think age of 13, he went on Tom's Hardware website. And during that period, he had over 1100 posts. And there were over 30 solutions that he provided, which were ranked as the best solutions. And he loved online platforms, online forums, just because people didn't judge him by his age.
He was my one-man tech team when we started our symposium. And I have disturbed him even after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock when I have any ideas, or if I come across any trouble with the technical things. He was always ready, would always respond, and he would attend and fix all those things that I wanted.
He helped me so much. I think Smriti and I literally owe our computer grades to Pramit, especially when it came to practicals and those records. He would literally do everything for us and be like, yes, I will send it to you.
And I think the first time I got a taste of Pramit as a coach is when he offered to teach me guitar.
Yes. Yeah, I know how to find those.
Okay.
All of them.
Right.
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
So you know the whole cycle thing where the sharps are. You know which ones don't have the sharps and the flats. Maybe which ones don't have. You know which ones. It's a circle, right?
Right.
It's a circle, right? It starts A, ends at G, but the G goes to an A, right?
Right.
There's no H.
Yeah.
It's the A, right? Huh? So the circle.
He really kind of broke down the basics, he really dumbed it down so that I could understand. And if one method didn't work, he'd find another method to kind of actually make the person understand what he was trying to say or teach them. And I was blown away by his commitment and his the way he taught, basically. But he was always patient, always kind but honest, I should say. Yeah, with his criticism.
I miss college quite a lot because I keep falling sick all the time. And I always end up submitting my assignments late and getting bad marks. So every time I used to be late and I didn't know how to edit a picture, I used to call Pramit in the middle of the night and be like, Pramit, I need your help right now, otherwise I'm gonna flunk. So he used to be there 2 o'clock, video calling me, helping me out to do things. And he was really nice to me.
Even when it comes to photography, there was so much I could learn from him. It was insane. I was always kind of in awe of him and of his knowledge. And one could not teach that man anything new. It was almost impossible. He knew everything, or so it seems to me, and I always kind of looked up to him in that respect.
Pramit, on his 5 years birthday, wanted to keep a lemonade stand in the park and make lemonade for his friends.
Pramit again started cooking at a very young age and used to love cooking. And him and I made a good team. He had a variety of dishes that he wanted to make and he used to make. We used to come up with paneer tikkas, bel puris, sandwiches. Particularly, I used to come in the midnight and he was there up and say, "Daddy, what do you want today?" And there was fresh sandwiches and bel puris made for me. It was a wonderful time.
Pramit the chef, because that's how we spend most of our time together, cooking or eating out. And of course, I was always the sous chef. And he once told me when we were cooking at his place that our cooking relationship was kind of like a marriage, because we started out with really fancy things like pastas and burrito bowls, and then slowly we came down to curd rice and sambar and rice and dosha and chutney.
Summer holidays last year, we cooked together, me, Siddhartha and Pramit. That was a really fun day because we made bruschetta. We made it 3 ways. We made one with mushrooms, one with tomatoes, and one with pesto. And I think your parents had it as well. So that was a fun day.
One time he was shooting a video for a assignment, and he asked me if I could be his actor. So I was like, yeah, sure. I know I have good looks, so I'll do it. Then I went to his house. We did a couple of shoots, and then the third time he said he told me to come ASAP. I went there, and he was waiting at the gate, and he was like, "We have to go." I was like, "Where we have to go?" Like, I want to have breakfast. Okay, so we went. So I thought we'll go to a close by hotel or something. Then he told me, no, take that right turn, take that left turn. Bastard, it took me 5 kilometers from there. He wanted to eat some vada pav at Anjuna only. Like, shit, man.
There's also him as the little chef that he was. He would make all his little concoctions and send his thirst traps to me, and he'd be like, "Look, I made this coffee, look, I did that," but never feed it to us. Only once has he done that.
So me, Vedant, and him, he used to come up with this all hilarious stuff, suddenly he's like, "Bro, you know what, I can put a shop called Penne with Pramit." I ever why? I make pasta and put it on a BC photography, didn't work. And we were like, "Yeah, bro." And he's put a table, we'll put a drum down, hit the drums. While his pasta is cooking, I'll sing a song for them, But I won't put any chairs. People should listen to me to stand.
Why for why? You should be close. You should straight ahead.
Okay, now we're Pramit Rao. How does it feel like to be the first boy to get a piano, a golden piano trophy? Very nice video. I'm very happy. I'm very happy too. Do you like getting the golden trophy? Yes. Okay, who would you give this golden trophy to? Myself. You are very funny. Okay, do you have any?
Once there was this time where, I never trusted him with my passwords. So just to prove that I can't hide things from him, he did this elaborate scheme to log into my Facebook account without me knowing. How did he do this? He made sure that he set up a secret hidden camera.
white collar, no? So it's handy.
What are you doing, man?
No, he was studying, Daddy. I just wanted to see something on upcasting. I just put it.
But you know, I don't want you to go on the computer, I told you.
I'm not going on the computer.
Knowing that I'm going to log into Facebook first, he just recorded my entire password and he got access to my account. And as soon as he showed it to me, he didn't do anything with it. He didn't post anything through my account. He just wanted to prove that he could do it, and I couldn't outsmart him.
So in my mind, it was always that, like if you can play guitar well, you're going to get girlfriends and stuff like that. So so I asked him to help me out. He stood behind me.
Can we see? Just start. Yeah, okay. Now.
No.
Yeah, that's fine.
He told me of this legendary prank he had done with Nihar, and I think you were involved as well, where you guys tricked Vishnu Srinivas into thinking a rock was like a moonstone or something. So yeah, that was a pretty I was so impressed when I heard that, because he went through making you act as some researcher from the US, and you even took a video of yourself explaining where the rock was from, and it was super rare and everything.
And he really fooled Vishnu into almost paying him money to buy that.
So the amount of commitment he put to the task was very impressive, and I think this was during 6th grade or something. So to even think of those kind of things at that age is so impressive.
This was, I think, for our farewell in 12th grade. I think the theme was winter ball, so all the girls were wearing these long gowns with extremely high heels. I think Smriti asked Pramit, or she wanted to get her shoes off, and so Pramit said okay, that he wanted to see if wearing heels was actually as hard as we made it out to be. And they decided to exchange shoes, and so everybody got all excited. I think all of us were taking videos to see Pramit walking in those heels, and everybody was calling him Cinderella because the shoe fit. But yeah, that was when he tried the shoe and took one step. It was fun.
One time we were hanging out outside the college, and me and Prithviraj went to him, and we were like, man, we want to learn guitar, we want to impress girls and all. He was like, yeah, you can see me how many girls I've impressed. But then we were totally getting into it, and I was telling her, let's get gigs and all, man. He was like, yeah, we'll form a band. Indu was also there, Prithviraj was there, and he was like, yeah, we'll form a band, 1 guitarist and 3 wannabe guitarists. That sounds good. We'll make a band. So it was really funny.
Yeah, I remember he came back after the summer break, and he was growing out his hair, so he had long hair and tied a pony behind him, which I also do normally. So he walked in, and I just said, oh, are you trying to take over my job? And he's like, I don't have, and he's quite witty, right? So he goes, no, I don't have the beard for it.
So to be honest, I was the least enthusiastic about conducting this event. Losing him was hard enough, and I just felt like he was mine, and all the memories I have of him is all that I have left. And I knew him the best, and that I didn't want to share that with anyone. But when we started actually recording these videos that you see today, we found out there are so many sides to Pramit. Things that we didn't even know about as his family, right? And so many things that people said about him and how much people loved him. And like Vedant rightly said, I wondered, did he himself know how much people loved him? Would he ever know if it wasn't for this event, right? I think as people, we tend to leave things unsaid. So the only takeaway I want to bring out from this event is that everyone has hard days where they feel like, they feel low, they don't feel confident, they don't feel like they're lost maybe. But if we tell the people we love how much we love them and promote them, their talents, their, interests, their personalities, use social media in a way that's positive, that's bringing all your friends and your family to light, uplift them, then we might get that back in plentyfold. So, since this event is all about promoting, we as a family have started a trust called Celebrating Pramit in his name. And we ask you to, keep his memory alive, listen to his music, follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. We've created a page. We even have a website, www.celebratingpramit.com. And the idea is to use this trust to do good and to create a positive change. Of course, we might not have a plan for it yet, but this event is the beginning. And when we do need your help, I hope all of you would support us. So thank you very much.
This was when he was 1 year, 10 months or something, not even 2, We had been to Karwar on a holiday, and those times we had a huge video camera, and he wanted to hold on to it and use it. He did not even know how to talk, he was not even talking then. We said, no, it's too big for you, Pramit. No, I want it, and all that crying and all. He had to take it that day, So that's how maybe it started for him, the love for camera, taking pictures. Yeah, then.
I think it was in the year 2011. I had this DSLR camera and I thought, let me learn photography. So I went for this course, a 2-day workshop. And after the first day, I came home and explained Pramit what I learned. He was all ears. And he had few questions. So next day when I got back, he was waiting for me. He was eager to know what new I learned that day. After that, the camera belonged to him. A few weeks later, he was the one who was telling me more about photography even more than what I had learned. And the science behind the camera, how the camera functions. That's how intense he was. When he took up something, he was very serious about it.
Yeah, Pramit, I met him when he joined the college, but then I really got to know him when he was in my class, which was in his second year. So I've seen him grow as a person, but more as a photographer because I used to see his work. And one thing I definitely saw was the photographer Pramit. The photographer and him developing from taking pretty well composed pictures to then really towards the end of the year, really thinking about photography as a medium and how the medium itself can affect and the language can say certain things. Be it a still life they're done of of clay with slight positioning of or personification of the pots could said a lot, and we discussed about it, and he knew what he was doing. He knew that angle would play out to invoke a certain visual pleasure. Other than that, I knew Pramit mostly through his work, so I came to know he liked music because he did a video on music on a person called Ravi, and the video was beautifully shot. He had done those portraits, and again you could really see whether I think it was the subjects he chose which were really close to him. Hence, he could do a very well job at getting things across to the viewer and to me as a teacher. One of the visual stories he did was on the metal worker. Again, I think he was called Siddesh or Suresh, one of those. And beautiful short images. I mean, I remember sitting with him for over, it seemed like a lot, but I don't know, more than half an hour, 45 minutes. And we couldn't choose which images to eliminate to make a final selection. And you could see how much it was thought through, because just placing an image next to the other one, he had thought for everything. Why did he want to put it before or after? Why didn't he want to end with a certain image? And again, as a tutor, it's a pleasure to have someone who thinks so much about not only about taking a photo, but then laying it out and what it represents and how the narrative works. So yeah, I mean, in work, he was commendable. I think everybody will agree with that. Whether it's stories or conceptual art or even commercial art.
When you travel through the lens of lush green and serene seas, one thing you're bound to see are homes, so wonderfully decorated with colors for your eyes to take heed. This has been ingrained into our culture for centuries, and like many Goan traditions, began with the Portuguese, who had a couple of rules. White was reserved for the churches as it symbolized purity and goodness. And after each monsoon, all houses were to be painted one of the four colors: a yellow, a blue, a red, and a green. These are the traditional colors of Goa, a sight that can still be savored all around our land. As years went by, we embraced this vibrant identity, and today it has blossomed into a form of one's self-expression, and in some cases, even a bit of competition. The colors of our homes are a true reflection of the people living in them. We are colorful people, so it's obvious we need houses that can keep up. Here, you can find some of the most colorful houses in the world. Ones that from besides paddy fields to city centers find their place to belong. It is no surprise to me that only a setting as kind and accommodating as Goa can enable this. These are the very values that encompass the essence of our people, the true colors of Goa.
I think I know him more as a photographer than personally. So about his work, I think it was one of the highlights of every review was to see his work, because it was always new or interesting. He would always challenge you with ideas, and you'd have to be at the top of your game to, talk to him about it or discuss it with him. And him as a photographer and talking photography with him made you question your photography and sort of raise your game a little bit, which I think was one of the most beautiful things about working with him and reviewing his work, is that it always pushed you to be a little better as well.
But one of the things that I picked on him very often is, I said, up your color index. What that means is he was working with dark colors, black and whites and other things. So I told him, Pramit, let's try and do an assignment where you can bring in a lot of color. And then what does he go and do this? He kind of goes and shoots this very, very bright kind of thing. You'll see the pictures, and his book is a pleasure because it's well put together, and his work ethics, as a student, his work ethic was superb.
Pramit had made a portfolio for his for college. Just flipping through it and just seeing all these photographs, and he sat down and he told me how he went about making the photographs, or rather clicking the photographs, and the people that he interviewed for it, the subjects of the photograph, the kind of stories that they carried, and with just that I could see that he had a lot of passion, and I was very happy that he had taken up photography that I was really passionate about. It was nice to see him doing the thing that he loved.
The next time I got to interact with Pramit was as early as middle of last year, 2019, and he spoke to me and my son about the possibility of doing a project, and we were more than happy to say yes. The project involved him spending about 1 week at our place. He was more like a fly on the wall, and that's how he wanted it, because he wanted to capture the moments at our work environment. And at the end of it, not only was I impressed by the outcome, but he brought in his portfolio, and I was amazed at the kind of depth that he had gone to into studying his subjects, and then converting a simple photo shoot into something way beyond that, to tell stories.
If I sit here to claim that I knew Pramit really well, I'll be only indulging in self-glorification. So it's better for me to say that I always wanted to know Pramit better, and the pursuit is still on.
Pramit and I had, though there was a big age gap, but I think we were fairly good friends from the point of view we ribbed each other about the Formula One thing. He was a Ferrari fan and I was a Mercedes fan, that is, Lewis Hamilton fan. And I remember every Monday morning when we met, when I was driving and he would be parking his scooter, and I said, hey, I used to rib him because, that whole couple of years it's been Lewis Hamilton who's been taking the pants off the Ferraris. So yeah, he would come back and say, no, you'll watch and all that. So we used to have a lovely little banter.
The one thing that I'll really miss about Pramit is working with him. Like, that's the bond we had, that we were really comfortable with working together. And it wasn't, we didn't have to force each other to reach common grounds when we were working on some project. We'd listen to each other, even argue, we'd fight, but it was all just for work.
He, just like Sid said, he was so well organized in everything he did. He was so in the moment every time. Like, he could, even the commercial shoot that we did for the architecture, we had gone to meet the clients, and that day we were all intimidated by she was a foreigner, the client, she was a curator, she was talking about big things, and we were already silent. I saw Pramit silent, then I went more nervous. Then after 5-10 minutes, he came up with the whole thing. He started telling them what kind of shots we'll be taking, how many photos. He organized everything in those 5 to 10 minutes. Like, who can,
He was the guy who always used to give a direction. So how's the shoot has to be. He because of him I got a lot of kind of discipline, maybe, because he's the only person in the college who shoots, and then within that day he used to do all his work, edit, finish, everything assignment was on time. So he was basically a well-mannered, I'll say, well-organized.
Like, he had set a benchmark for the kind of people I want to work with, and he was on the top of that priority list. It was really, he had got my hopes high that, he's the guy I want to work with.
Pramit is someone who like knew a lot of stuff and is not just like the usual, like jack of all trades, master of none, but he's literally a master in everything he knew.
He was so excellent in everything he did, the music he played, photography, in general, work ethics, life. Such well-mannered guy, so honest and true in his work.
Like work-wise, he was really honest. Like he was the most honest guy I've seen. He was very real, very real. I still remember, like I used to go to him to review my work, and he was the only guy who would tell me what's good, what's bad on my face. And that's the best thing. That was the best thing about him. He was very real, true, and very helpful.
I would say that, whatever came to his lips, words that flew out of him, had a very strong conviction backing it. It was never by the way. It was never impulsive. If he said something, he truly meant it.
He is the first person, to kind of look me in the eye and say, Indu, I believe you can do certain things. And the thing is, it was Pramit who was telling me that. So I had to believe him. And that was such a great feeling, to have someone believe in you like how he did. It was really good. And that's actually what gives me confidence even now.
I saw him growing up into a confident lad. And though we did not speak much with each other, but whenever we crossed, he would give a very beaming smile. And you knew that the smile was genuine because, the smile would last that much little longer. And it would almost reach his ears.
I met him when he came to school once as an alumni, I remember. But that time he was very different. He had long hair and I hardly recognized him. And he said with his smile, "Ma'am, do you know who I am?" But, well, that was a giveaway. And I said, "Yes, Pramit, I know you." And he seemed very happy.
I never seen him, down and out, because I always thought he was a happy kid. And at least with me, he was very happy and chatted and jokes. His sense of humor was fantastic. So it was a very adult sense of humor, and repartee was good because you tell him something, he would come back with an answer. So lovely thing.
A lot of our conversations, especially after we both started growing up, were more along, him trying to keep me grounded. He always did. In the sense, I'm a little bit more of a dreamer. I like big ideas. He used to always say, "Akka, you've got ambition, but you need to know when to slow down." And he was always the guy that asked tough questions, As a kid, he used to ask questions about how things work. And as he started growing up and become more contemplative, he started asking questions about society and why things don't work. Why can't you say this? Why can you say that? And a lot of those questions would relate back to, why did you make these decisions? What is the purpose behind it? And I never really liked it when he asked me these questions because it forced me to think about things that I hadn't really thought about before. But now looking back, I realized that in a way, he was the one that was, really keeping my feet on the ground and making me think through my decisions. And I really appreciate him for that.
He was bold enough to stand for what's right. He never looked back on that.
Years later, he uploaded a series of his photography on Instagram entitled it Thought. And he had 4 lines to kind of explain the title. And when I read those 4 lines, I thought They were really intense, extremely deep, to the extent of being dark. Troubled a little I was, so I immediately texted him and I kind of asked for explanations. And Pramit, as humorous as he was, replied saying, "You're the English teacher." And I immediately said, yeah, but it's a very rare opportunity that any English teacher gets to meet the poet himself. And then what he said will reverberate within my soul forever. I'm quoting him because I remember it. He wrote, "When the poet's pen bleeds out his thoughts, it no more belongs to just himself. It becomes that of the others." Pramit was all 90 and he understood it.
You really needed to raise your level to when Pramit is there and you're having a conversation with Pramit, because he'll come up with something new every time, and he was so well informed and he had so much, what do I call it, wisdom with him at such a very young age, which was very unusual. And he was very different, and I'll never meet a guy like him, I know for sure.
Pramit, the name means the enlightened one. It's only when we come through such circumstances, situations, we realize what a privilege it's to have been in these people's lives. Thank you, Pramit, for giving me an opportunity to be with you for even if it's a short time.
You'll always be there in my memories and in my heart. I'll always cherish you. Rest in peace, my child.
All I could say in a way is we really haven't lost him. We haven't lost him. I would say that he's frozen in time as far as I'm concerned. He'll never be old for me. He'll stay the way he was. I will remember his smile, and that's it. He never grows old for me. So that's what I feel about Pramit.
I would like to take a few minutes. Last 2.5 months, the only purpose for us, three of us, is to make this event happen. And we want to do the best possible. Not for ourselves, because it was Pramit. And Pramit, except for very few people who knew him, most didn't know. And this event, when we thought about it in mid of November, I never realized it would be something like this. Even though sketches of this was there, I had no ability, I had no experience in detailing this, executing this. So there are a lot of people I need to thank now. First of all, I think I must thank the Woodrow's team, Ms. Charu Ramaya and her team. They have been very nice to us. And the trademark of the service is a smile that I carry always. Today's sound and lighting arrangements are made by Manikanta and his team. I thank them for this. Madhu Shetty and his team have made all the exhibits. Thank you, Madhu. Raj, who is the video jockey today. Kushal is the sound engineer today. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Kushal. Manjunath and his team for shooting the videos today. Thank you, guys. A month back, I spoke to C.A. Ravi. You saw him on the video. Wanting to ask him whether he is interested to say a few words about Pramit. And not only he did that, he offered me that his help in doing any kind of media work that we need to do. That was so nice of him. So a couple of days later, I thought it's a good idea. I met him and his son Rahul. And the past 2 weeks, Rahul has worked so hard on this. Okay. I used to spend about 4 hours with him, but he used to be there till 8:30, 9:30 in the night, finishing the videos. Never ever tired of this, so committed. An excellent editor too. So I found a young friend in Rahul. So when I was talking to Ravi and Rahul, it was a lot of work, I know that. So I was wondering how do we go about doing this? Basically, I was asking a quote from him. And Ravi said, "We're going to do this for Pramit." So it's nice, so nice of Rahul and Ravi. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Ravi. As Pragnya mentioned that we have created this trust celebrating Pramit. And for this, Mrs. Asha Prasad, she is around. She helped us in drafting the deed and helped us in registering the trust. So thank you, Mrs. Asha Prasad. You have seen the young guys going around in the camera here. Okay, they are from Goa, Indu and Vedant. And what a wonderful job they did in shooting the videos from Goa and sending it across. It was so clear that there was no edit required except for cutting clips. That's it. And Prithvi is also here. I would like to thank Prithvi for a different reason, but because he was my one person I could reach out during those few weeks in November, and he used to run around for all the paperwork and get it done for me. So thank you, Prithvi. And there is Harshita and Sanika. I don't know where they are. Here. They're always backstage. Okay. As a team with Pragnya and Vanshaj, whatever you see design element here, okay, that's all done by them. Okay. So thank you, Harshita. Thank you, Sanika. We invited Suprit as a guest. He accepted the invitation. But he ended up offering his help in live streaming of this event. I spoke about this live streaming this event to many people few months back, month and a half back. No one was confident of doing it from here. Okay. It's so nice of, I believe it's going pretty fine. Okay. So nice of you, Suprit. Thanks very much. Last but not the least, this event wouldn't have been the way it is or any way close to this without Vanshaj Kapoor. He's also backstage somewhere. As I told you, I had no idea how to go about doing it. Only thing I had a picture of how it should look, but execution was never my capability. And I spoke to one judge around the same time, 15th November, 16th November. And he said, "Uncle will do it. Leave it. I will take care of it." And he did. And he knows everything about it. So, he is actually director of the show. Thanks, Vancha. It's very strange life is. Something bad happens. And there a lot of goodness comes along with that. And we have experienced that in the last 3.5 months. From people we knew and people we met first time. Beginning from those 3 days in November when many here from family and friends were with us in Goa. It meant a lot to us. Thank you so much. It not only strengthened the bonds, we also sort of connected very differently with people after that. Then the whole One School team was there, Mr. Shantanu Sharai, and the faculty, and all the students there, those 3 days with us. I really don't know how to thank you all. I also want to thank you, all of you, for being here, and all those who are watching this event live. Thank you very much. Bye.
Do you like being at piano? Playing the piano?
Usually I like playing the electric guitar, but I don't know it.
It all started in a July afternoon. I was walking past a 12th standard classroom when I heard an enigmatic voice singing Behind Blue Eyes by The Who. And it immediately caught my ears and I stood there for a while to hear them. I listened to the entire song only to discover Pramit. That's where our journey of knowing each other began.
Because Pramit was so perfect in playing the guitar, I would never have to worry about it. I just sing, and like I had to just worry about myself.
As days passed, we thought of forming a band, and most suddenly, the boys came up with this name called Just Anonymous, and they christened the band thus. I had this habit of nicknaming, the boys and the girls of the band, and I named Pramit our king, much to his dislike, because he never wanted any attention for himself. And whenever he thought about stage, he thought about the band, Just Anonymous performing on stage, and never was it Pramit on stage or what Pramit wanted to sing. So this was a beautiful part of him, and I guess he suited the name truly well.
The band was amazing. I think that's the only reason I loved 12th grade so much. It was one of the best memories I have from school, and he had such a huge role to play in it.
The annual day was fast approaching. There was a lot of pressure. Rehearsals were getting intense, long. I was getting extremely demanding and picky. So Pramit just kind of called me out. He said that is just Anonymous going to go up on stage and do a cover version which is next to perfect? Or is just Anonymous going to go up on stage and sing their song, live the stage? Then he looked at me and he said, every song has a soul. The band needs to feel the soul and interpret it the way it wants to. Enjoy each moment, cherish each moment, and feel the wood under their feet. And the vibe will flow, and it will flow across the auditorium. And it's going to be a good performance, trust me on that. And I did trust him. That's exactly what the band did.
Made all of us feel so important, and I just wish I could go back. So there were 1,000,001 times that I kind of spoke to Pramit and I told him, why don't you try writing your own song? So some days he would say, I don't have the lyrics. The other days he would say that no tune is coming to me. Then one day I texted to him and I said, Pramit, just sit back, look into your heart. In some corner, you're going to find a word or two. Just start with that and your guitar will follow. And soon it's going to become a song. After 2 days, it was 23rd October 2017, Pramit sent me a note. That was the first song he sent me.
He had bought a Taylor acoustic guitar. For those who know it, it also sounds really good. It's a very famous guitar because of that. And he very graciously called me home and said, listen, come play it with me and things like that. So we just jammed around for like 3-4 hours. We played a couple of songs. It was so much fun. We made a couple of videos and all that. And suddenly out of the blue, he starts playing this song. I didn't want to stop him. He went through the entire song, and at the end of it, I'm like, man, it's such an emotive song. It's with chords that I've never seen before. It was with lyrics that I'd never heard before. But it was like a proper professional song that was written down. I asked him, where did you pick up the song? He said that he had written it down. Thereafter, he played a second song that he had written down. And he told me that he had written something like 11, 12 other songs. And that was really surprising to me.
And he used to be pretty critical of himself, even though it sounded great. Like he'd always be like, oh, I didn't record it correctly. Oh, I didn't get the acoustic side or something. But it always sounded good. And whenever he played, you could make out it was him because he had his own style of doing things.
The first time that I met him, we did discuss a little bit about guitars, and I think he was starting out at the time, and within a period of like, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years or so, he had already gotten so much better at the guitar. He had become so good at the guitar that he was writing his own songs. He was very passionate about it, and he told me about different ways of singing, and he had done a lot of study about it. He doesn't really, I don't know if he saw it as hard work because he was just passionate. He was just genuinely interested about it, but he worked really hard at his craft, and it was very nice.
I loved his jam sessions a lot. Like he used to play guitar, sing, and I just came comes over there and sit and listens to him. We had a very great time.
Music to Pramit was his life. He found himself in music and he expressed himself through music. He actually lived music.
I don't know. I don't know whether any science can explain why I call Pramit my son. But what I really believe in is that he was, is, and will be the largest sun in my sky, the largest sun to have brightened up my day, and the largest sun that I look up to when I wake up each day. Pramit is going to be with me forever. Forever. This is my understanding of Pramit, a man of very few words, but with a song of his own.
Okay, you have heard Mrs. Sen talking about Pramit. She was the one who found the musician in him. I don't know how she made him go on stage. And the first time we met her at the Brigade Flash event, she said something very nice. Of course, she was all praise for Pramit, and she said something nice. She said, I treat Pramit as my son. I hope you don't mind it. I said, you're more than welcome to do that. If Pramit could relate to someone like that, it would only make us more happier. And strangely though, we didn't connect with for next till after Pramit passed away, except for once during the annual day. And since November, we four of us, Pragya, Mani, myself and Mrs. Sen, are sharing memories of Pramit. And there are lots of them. And we quite aptly call that group Pramit's family. Thank you, Mrs. Sen.
Hi. Pramit used to tell me, Ma, I live in Goa and I have long hair. And people think differently, you know. They have their own ideas, they have their own feelings about me. But don't worry, Ma. I don't do any of those things. When music is there, I just live with that. And he also said, music is my drug. And today, we are releasing his album officially. On 14th, it was out on many platforms. It was our Valentine's gift from him to us and from us to him. He's always around with us. And with all of you, spread the music of his. Thank you. I request Mrs. Chandra Ashwath We call her Chandra Aunty, please, on the stage. Mr. Ravi. Mrs. Sen, please. Pragna. Yeah, Mr. Bruce Limani left a little early because he had some prior engagement. So, please don't forget to take these handouts with you. There is a QR code which you can just, through which you can log into the website, and it will take you to the website and spread the word. Thank you so much. And the lyrics are there. You can have your own sweet time to go through it. Thank you.
This is not part of the script. I just felt like sharing a few thoughts. So, yeah, I've known Pramit since the time he was in mid-school, and you probably saw a bit of me speaking about him. But I want to share some, new thoughts that kind of accumulated in my mind in the last 2 or 3 weeks. There are so many video clips being compiled, with Rahul and Venkat and the studio. And see, I'm a big fan of legacy. I believe that we humans, we have one life. The flesh, the bones, the blood flowing through our body, I think we are beyond all that, right? Those of us who believe that we are beyond all that think of creating a legacy. And some of us don't worry about such things. We just live it, day to day, get on with it. But people who create a legacy, they are remembered forever. And the thought why I'm talking about this is, it takes a long time for a human being to get to the point where he or she can create a legacy big enough for it to make a difference to people. And this is where I was thinking of Pramit. Early 20s, he had already created so much, which, I don't know, even if people are in the 50s and 60s may not have created enough material to create an impact. And what do I mean by impact? It is, I can only see one word written in all this, which is inspiration. Inspiration to think beyond our capabilities. And that's a reminder. So for me personally, it's been, it's a reinforcement that yes, we need to think about creating a legacy which lives on beyond us. And we don't matter in this, right? We come, make an appearance and go. So which means I'm convinced that how many years did we spend here on earth does not matter, right? If I live up to 100, doesn't matter. What did we do in the time that we spent here? I think that's the thought. So I would like for all of us to shout out a big thank you to Pramit right now. I request all of you to join me in as loudly as possible. Let's say that. Thank you, Pramit. Thank you.
I have a small little plea when you all listen to Pramit's song. Yes, I want everyone to keep Pramit in mind, but at the same time, I want everyone to feel the soul of the song. If you get to feel the soul of the song, then at some point, in some lyric, in some word, in some line, you're going to find yourself in it. And that's how you would enjoy his songs even better. And that's how Pramit would want you to listen to his songs. The minute you do that, you will hear his guitar talk to you. You will hear his lyrics telling you 1,000 stories, and his tune painting a very beautiful picture of you in front of you.
we have just one more song to play. And before we do that, first of all, I want to request all of you to please have dinner before you leave. Then there will be two video cameras, one right in front of the album cover and one right in front of the exhibits. And whoever want to share their views about Pramit, about this event, could please do that. The third thing is that we have a link in the website. It's for small group hearings of his song. So those interested to listen to his album, discuss about his album. After you listen to his album, I'm sure I think there will be quite a few thoughts that you will have. And this will be an opportunity just to share, okay, what Pramit was trying to convey and what we understood from that. Okay, so please do that, and probably in about 2 to 3 months' time, we should be able to organize that. So we have almost an hour and 45 minutes, maybe almost 2 hours. And there is so much beauty that is there, that was there in that person, that people saw, recognized, noticed, experienced. So the question, I'm sure, not just for us, everyone would be, then why? Well, this is something which has been bothering us. Today is 108th day. I don't think a day goes by without trying to find an answer for that. And I have tried to peep into Pramit's mind. The first 2 months, nothing happened. And I had no courage to listen to his songs. So sometime first week of January, it was like Pramit saying that if you want to peep into my mind, you better use the window I have provided for you. Okay. And those are his songs, the poems. And there are 17 of them, okay, of which he has composed music for 10. So from that day onwards, I have listened to his songs almost every day, going line by line, understanding word by word what he meant. Now this is my take, this is my understanding of what happened. On my own, probably is the song which is Pramit's swan song, okay, which probably tells us what happened on November 1st. I thought I'll take a little time to give my perspective to this, and I would encourage all of you to really listen to all his songs. And maybe when we meet next, I would listen to your views on that. So Pramit left these songs not for us to release in our album. That was not his interest at all. That's what we are doing. I think Pramit didn't do anything casually. Okay. Even in his death, he had a purpose behind what he did. And the way he had organized his note, I just can't believe someone who could do that. And I think after going over it in my mind for weeks and months, I think those songs leaves a trail but what was going on in himself, in his mind, over a period of 2.5 years. It's very interesting that out of 17 songs, Pramit, this is all we gathered from his computer. Of course, we didn't know that he wrote any songs at all. 11 songs were written between the period September 2017 and December 2017. 4 songs were written between Jan and May 2018. And after a long gap, he wrote Distant. It was in March 2019. And On My Own just was a month before, in September 2019. What he's trying to say, I guess, is that you can't really straitjacket me and define me by looking at me at a certain period of time and say this is what Pramit was. He's in a way saying I was evolving, I was changing. And if you listen to all the songs in between September and December 2017, you would see so much pain in that. Pain where he blames himself. He refers to mind quite often in those songs. He talks of two minds at play. He talks about when the weak mind takes control, there is nothing more. And he also refers to what's happening around him. And that's because that was a very turbulent phase of Pramit's life. And we did discuss about it when he came in Jan 2018, December 2017. Then he went back. He was determined that he is going to change this. It was turbulent not because that anything around him was wrong. It was turbulent because he didn't want to compromise just to be accepted, just to be recognized. And it was not so easy. I think by Jan 2018, he was pretty sure that he is going to overcome this, and it was in his control. So, by mid 2018, it was a very different Pramit altogether. Pramit was confident, Pramit was liked, accepted, loved, and Pramit is not so dumb that he didn't understand any of these things. He knew about it. So most of his songs that were written, those 11 songs, quite a good large number of songs in such short period of time, showed a type of Pramit that was at that point of time. And he had changed so much in the next 6 months, and he only had to say whatever he had to say with only 4 songs. And he had nothing to say for 9 months. Okay. And he didn't write music just to be writing music. He had to feel strongly about something, then only then he would have done that. So what really happened in those period? Okay. The period where we saw Pramit, a very different Pramit. A Pramit, as I told you, very confident, could held his head high, talk, discuss. Was so clear. And sometime around mid of 2019, it also calmed down so much. So much so that it was like an ocean before a tsunami. And it did hit. And there is a reason for that. And that's what he explained in this song, On My Own. So what is different here? Number one, Pramit first time he writes in a poem and a song that he was in happiness. Then he says that he had everything that one could expect from a life. And third thing he says, still I have pain. And he realizes that pain is nothing to do with his mind, nothing to do with his body, nothing to do with society, nothing at all. And that pain was in his soul. I think that's what Pramit was doing from May 2018 to September 2019, trying to understand what was going on within himself and trying to find those words to express that. And he finally did that in September 2019. I'm sorry, I'm not carrying the script. I mean, the song lyrics just missed it, but I do remember most of it. I can say it. So Pramit starts this song on my own, saying that he had so much happiness in his life when he is with his loved ones. Actually, the word he uses is crowds of bliss beyond happiness. But he had this quest to find himself. And because of the quest, he understood that being in this, with these people, being happy, he was losing himself too. So to find himself, he stayed away from us indefinitely. So this is how the lines go. I hope I can remember entirely. Yeah, I think. When I am lost in crowds of bliss, I lose my reason bit by bit to find myself ways to be. I stay adrift indefinitely. But he also understand. I think he stayed away, then he understood it's not happening. What he wanted is not happening. Then he said, okay, maybe I need help. I want someone to come and help me out here. So he cries out, he wonders, is there anyone at all in the world who can help me? Come to me, help me find that I don't have. And he says, till I find that person, I know what to do. And the only thing I can do is that I better be on my own. Why? He says the line of the song, he says, isolated from the noise that pains my soul. And you should listen to him when he says, use the word pain my soul, more so in the second time. You can almost feel that within yourself. So, he is not able to find anyone. He is by himself, alone. Still this craving is there. So he decides, okay, let me just dig deep inside myself. So he decides to go to a depths of darkness, deep inside him. And he goes there and he becomes deaf because he doesn't want to hear those noises. But even in those depths, and when he is deaf, the Christ comes back. The Christ comes back, tell him that you do not possess what you need. Now he doesn't know where to go. So the lines he writes, deep into a dark abyss, I wander deaf, yet Christ persists, reminding me I don't possess of what I need. I wait for death. I don't know how, I don't know if someone can help me find some bliss. But for now, I come to know I'm better on my own. Having said all these things, he steps away from himself. He becomes an observer. And he asks this question, what a fool are you? You have everything in the life that you want. Yet you have this greed, the greed that you are not able to, something beyond, okay? And he says, you are wrong. So the lines he uses for this, with all this greed I carry, wanting more than what has been bestowed on me, is my foolish fallacy. That's how the song ends. This is my understanding of what this song means. And I think only if Pramit had some patience, possibly he could have been on a path of self-discovery. But he gave up. Or did he find himself on my own?